Hey guys, Thomas Sicily Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm still wrapping up some 2016 movies that I have yet to review. Apologies for that, it's been a pretty slow couple of days. But I have been doing more Let's Plays, been trying to get those back on track, so that is the reason for my lack of keeping up with these movies. Anyways, the movie I'll be looking into today is Passengers, this sort of sci-fi drama romance movie with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Laurence as the main characters. So the movie begins with him waking up and being aboard on the ship by himself, and there's this sense of isolation, and eventually he comes across her and he researches what she's been talking about and so on and so forth, and he faces the dilemma of either choosing to live out the rest of his life alone or to choose to take her out of her pod, and apparently these pods cannot be repaired or whatever. I felt like this movie had a bit of like a few excuses to get by, like the whole pod thing. And later on in the film, there is another character that is introduced that I feel like really helped, like, create almost this sort of convenience for the film. I won't spoil what that is, but I felt the third act really heavily relied on that. But this movie feels like it's a struggle between like this sort of genre identity. There are moments where it's like trying to be creepy or create this moment of isolation, and then there are moments where it's trying to be this romantic movie between these two characters. And I think the actors do a fine job. I think the way that they build up the sort of isolation part and the other part of like what the ship is doing, okay. They bring it up a few times where like something in the ship is stops working all of a sudden, like it'll be one of those little cleaning robots or like another robot or something, and so on and so forth. So they do sort of guide uh, the moviegoers to show that this is heading toward this big thing. This movie does have a heavy liar revealed story in it, and I felt it was handled kind of questionably at best. I don't know. Like the ending sequence was the most just like, I don't know how I felt about it, sort of ending. I mean, it does leave a question, though. An interesting question is, would it have even mattered? I don't know. It's an interesting question. But, this movie was okay. I've seen other reviews that say that there's like a reference to The Shining, and boy, oh boy, do they have a lot of scenes, like especially in the beginning toward that, where he's Chris Pratt's character is in the bar and then talking to that android, and we know it's android. We see that in the trailer, him sort of getting all wacky and whatnot. But we don't know what led up to that point. So, yeah. So the movie does have its set of conveniences, but I still enjoyed it. I thought, the actors did what they were capable of being able to do. From an aesthetic point of view, the ship was an interesting design, and the way it functions almost makes it feel like a character. And I mean that to say that there's also like components of the computer that talk to the characters from time to time, but that's more so in the beginning, um, and it becomes less and less relevant, it seems, as the movie does go on. But it's an enjoyable movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Just an enjoyable flick. So if you're into a romance story, and a pretty typical one at that, and it just so happens to also take place in space, so there's a whole another genre layer on top of the romance. If you're someone who enjoys sort of mixed thing going on here, consider giving it a watch if you haven't already. And with that being said, this has been Thomas Sicily Jr., aka Mustached, and I'll see you guys next time.